I'm live. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. People call me the Big Game Hunter because I used to hunt down leaders and staff organizations, did it for a long time, and now they hire me for no BS job search coaching and career advice globally because I make the process of finding work and succeeding at it so much easier. I'll just mention that what I do at career coach office hours is answer your questions live, or if you couldn't make it live, you send them to me through LinkedIn and I answer them during the show. You watch it later, it's all good. But the idea is, I know that people need help with their job search. And thus, what I try to do is take this time and create products and services to help people land. So if you've got a question about your job search, you can put it in the chat so I can answer it live. I also want to mention, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. My network tends to be a lot larger than most of yours. As a result, my first level connections become your seconds. And since I've got more than 30,000 people I'm connected with, it's going to expand you quite a bit. So that's one thing I want to mention to you. The other one, of course, is JobSearch.Community, where I've got all my video courses, books, and guides available to you for one low price, as low as $49 per month. And you can also ask me questions through the site so you don't have to wait for Tuesdays to be able to have your questions answered. I have higher tiers of service where we get on calls with one another as well, or Zoom calls, I should say, and I can support you with your search. So again, that's JobSearch.Community. Again, all my courses, books, and guides are available. It's like 30 items, and it's all presented to you easily, so you don't have to spend money on additional coaching in many areas. What we're able to do is have you learn asynchronously so that you can get the information that you really need or want. Again, that's JobSearch.Community. So as I start these shows, I always talk about something related to the job market, but I thought I would share something a little different today. There's a podcast that I listen to called the All In Podcast. 4 billionaires sit around talking about business, government, whole host of different things. And once a year, they do a summit where they bring in notable speakers to present at the summit. It's on YouTube, and just look for All In Summit 2024. Now, there's a previous year, 2023. There's some great speakers there, but I'm not being paid to encourage you to do this. I just think you find some of the speakers really interesting to learn from and to listen to a different way of thinking, which I think helps all of us. We tend to get into ruts. I know I do at times, and listening to people who are knowledgeable, who are successful, helps me a lot, and I suspect will help you. So that's All In Summit 2024. There is a previous year, 2023. I don't think they did it in 2022, but take a look, see if I'm wrong, and I'm just going to encourage you, watch it. I frankly listen to it, even though it's on YouTube, because I'm busy doing other stuff. So again, All In Summit 2024. Now, I received a number of questions in advance today, and I'm just going to say again, if you've got a question for me, put it in the chat so I can answer it live. Now, the first question is, I just want to make sure it was recording to the two places it's supposed to record. How effective are software engineering interviews in determining how good the candidate will turn out to be? There's no way to really answer that question. By the way, I don't look at these questions in advance. I want to make it seem like a live presentation. So this is the first time I'm seeing this question. How effective are software engineering interviews in determining how good a candidate will turn out to be? Again, impossible to tell. Why do I say that? Because some firms interview better than others. Some firms are better at deducing how a person would fit into their organization without trying to interview for fit, which I frankly don't believe in. They're better at culture, and better at assessing talent, and they have a better process in place than others. The statistics on turnover for the longest time is that within a year after a person joining a firm, the manager has buyer's remorse about the hire in 50% of cases. 1 out of 2 are judged as a failure within a year of a person joining, which tells me that they think they've done a good job at hiring and they become disappointed. The other thing outside of that is the person thinks that they made a good decision and the firm has disappointed them. So, to me, ultimately, you take a person who's excited to join a firm and then they get ground up within a system that frankly turns them into robots. It's intelligence, but it's been diminished by being systematized. Business calls it transformation. I call it systematized. And frankly, you dull out people who you hired because they were inspired to do great things, and then you don't let them do it. So I'll just say to you, there's no way to answer this question. Again, some firms do it better than others, and that's my best shot at that, okay? Next question is it risky to accept a great software engineering job in a top tech company if you think you're a mediocre programmer? So let me start by saying, what makes you think you're mediocre? Do you know people who are better programmers than you? And that's the reason why you assess yourself that way? I don't know. But we're often our harshest critics. And a firm takes an opportunity to evaluate and assess people and come to a decision as to whether or not you're qualified to do the job. I'd speak with the staff there without talking about being a mediocre programmer, because all you're doing is giving negative self-talk, and that doesn't help. What you need to do is talk with them about what the expectations are going to be. What's it like to work there? What's your manager going to be like? What are the demands like? See how you match up with them, because you may think of yourself as mediocre and they think of you as world class, or someplace in the middle between those two poles. So is it risky to accept a great software engineering job offer at a top tech company if you think you're a mediocre programmer? I think the bigger question is about, are you someone who's really tough on yourself? And that's why you think you're mediocre. You have an expectation of perfection, not excellence. You can't be perfect. You can be excellent. Okay. I hope that's helpful. If you need some help, reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. I'll charge you a little bit for it, but the long and the short of it is I'd be very happy to help. Next question. I just did an interview for a job, but a couple of hours after the interview, the recruiter asked me if I get hired, when can I start? I believe that's the end of that sentence. Let me just check. Yes, when can I start? Does that mean something good? I'm just going to put that into chat again on principle. Bear with me. This is the full question. I'm not sure how I truncated that, but I did. There we go. So my apologies there. I'm not sure what the problem. Oh, there it is. I see. There's the question. Possibly. The manager may have asked the recruiter when you can start because they need someone right away. And if you're someone who couldn't start pretty quickly, they may back away. Or it means something good, and they're trying to find out when you can start because they want to make you an offer and they want to start doing resource planning going forward. So there's lots of alternatives in the middle, including when can you start? A month from now? That's perfect for us. we can keep interviewing for another week or two, extend an offer, and this person's going to still be available. Can't tell. So I'll just simply say it can mean something good. It can mean something ordinary. Whatever it is, good luck with this situation. And I hope it turns out the way that you want. Okay. So if you've got a question for me, put it into chat so I can answer it live. Also, I'm going to encourage you, come over to JobSearch.Community, where I've got video courses, books, and guides to help you. Some of it's free on the homepage. Feel free to download that stuff so I can help you in that way. Then become an insider, Insider Plus, Insider Premium. I've got different tiers of service, including you getting, no matter which level of service you order, you get all my content for free. It's all part of the program. Then I've got Insider 30, where you're buying 30 minutes of time from me, 60, Insider 60, and then there's the Insider package, where you're buying 4 hours of time from me, plus getting the content. So again, that's JobSearch.Community. Let's go to another question, okay? Is it a good idea to say that the current company is not doing well financially to an interviewer, and that's why you want to leave? It's not a bad idea intrinsically, especially if it's a firm that's known in the media for struggling financially. You can say, there have been rumblings about layoffs because the firm is not doing well financially. I've been doing well, but, I've got responsibilities and I can't afford to be out of work. So I'm looking for something now rather than waiting for the shoe to drop and being out of luck because they're just not doing well. That's got nothing to do with me and my performance. I do great work. I've got great recommendations. I've got great performance reviews, but they're not doing well. And we all know where that turns out. So that becomes a graceful way to handle that kind of situation. You're not really going out of your way to be critical of the firm. You're just basically saying, they're not doing well. I don't want to wait for the other shoe to drop. I just want to be in a situation where I can do my job, do it great, help a firm succeed, and not have to worry about layoffs. So that's the way I would approach it. I'm not sure why I got this question. Is management by walking around the best kind of management? At smaller companies, in my opinion, it is. I think there comes a point where you have to do more than just management by walking around. You've got to really manage and to do it well. Now, part of that's people management, part of that's process management. And people management is you're managing people, making sure they're performing up to expectations and helping them learn and grow. Process management, stuff has to be done. You have to help them get it done. Can you inspire people to do great work? Or as in the example of the previous question or the earlier question, people join with all sorts of motivations and expectations and then become disappointed and then start feeling like losers or they were betrayed or deceived, and you lose them as employees, even if the body is there. So is it the best form of management? Just try managing, whether it's by walking around or some other way. Do something. Develop relationships with your people. Inspire them to do world-class work. How do I do that? If you don't know, you're not ready to be a manager. So start learning how to be a successful manager. So you don't have to worry about what style of management you deploy. It's more about the results that you get, the turnover that you avoid. There's lots of different minutiae that makes a difference to individuals. So now we have, what should be your best answer to the question, why do you think this job is for you? It's a question almost like, why do you want to work for us? So it gives you a chance to talk excitedly about the role. Why do you think this job is for you? I could speak about it from my perspective, but I want to speak about it with regard to what I can do for you. And then you talk about how your background fits what they need for the role, what your history is in doing world class work, and helping organizations learn and grow and advance and prosper. That you've got great reviews, but that's about me. I'm here to help you get what you need to get done. And thus, it's a great way for you to extol upon their virtues and the nature of the opportunity and how your background matches in with it. So focus on doing that and answering it and sound very excited as you talk. Okay. This was a fun question. Bear with me for 1 second. And I have to copy that over. There we go. Why are completely random profiles showing as third-degree connections even though my LinkedIn profile is brand new? So let me just take that off for a second. Why are they showing as third-degree connections? Understand how the LinkedIn connection system works. First-level connections are people who you know. Got it? People who you know. Second-degree connections are people who they know, who you may not know. But it's people that your first-degree connections know. Pretty clear so far. What is a third-degree connection? Well, follow the train here for a second. It's not someone who you know. It's not someone who you know who knows someone else. It's someone who you know who knows someone else who knows someone else who you probably don't know. That's what makes them a third-degree connection. It's not per se a random profile. What it is a profile of someone who your second-degree connections know, but you don't. And I speak with the authority of having been among the first 10,000 people on LinkedIn. This is how the system works. First-level connections are the people who you know on the platform, who you are connected with. Second-degree connections are the people who they know, who you may not know. Third-degree connections are people who, they are from the second-degree connections, people who they know, but you may not know because they're more distant from you than this second-degree connection is. So it seems random to you. It's logical to LinkedIn, and that's all that matters, okay? I've got a couple more. Bear with me for a second while I copy and paste that in. Here we go. How can I find people to refer me to their company for a job? Bear with me for a second. The most obvious place, of course, is LinkedIn, where you find someone who's worked for a firm, connect with them, have a conversation with them, and talk with them about your background and how you can serve their employer. See if they'll make an introduction, because that's really what you're talking about. You're not going to get the job without being interviewed. That's the fact of it. But the way you do it is by talking to people who you know, who might be able to introduce you to people who they know, but you don't. Okay? I've got 2 more so far. And I'll just remind all of you, if you've got a question, put it in the chat so I can answer it live. Okay? And what does it mean when a potential employer flies you out to their headquarters for a 4th round interview? They're interested. That's it. They are interested. They want to spend more concentrated and focused time with you so that you get a flavor for their offices, the people, more than what a simple Zoom call would allow. So it's a way that they can scope you out, get a sense of your manners, do you look the way you did on the Zoom call? Because there are people who try to scam firms. So the long and the short of it is, it doesn't mean you're being hired, although for some organizations it may, not as many as people think. It does mean they want to evaluate you in person so that in this way they're comfortable with their choice. So I'm going to pause here and say, I'm Jeff Altman. I hope you found today's show helpful. If you did and you're watching on YouTube, share it, leave a comment, click the like button, do something that lets people know it was worthwhile. Also, join me at JobSearch.Community, where I've got video courses, books, and guides to help you land your next role, plus coaching from me, plus Q&A from me, so that I can help you. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. Once we're connected, my network tends to be a lot larger than most, and it will serve you that it actually is. Hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great.